Welcome to LiveDaf, your online Daf Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem and welcome back to today's Daf Hayemi Maseches KEREISOS Daf Chaf Aleph. We begin 16 lines from the top of the Amud Amar. Let's go back and have a quick look at that drasha again. So it was based on the pasuk which forbids eating blood. The pasuk reads like this: V'chol dam lo seichlu. You shouldn't eat any blood, which sounds like any type of any sort. And then the pasuk proceeds to describe specifics. La'oif la behema, from a bird, from a fowl, or a behema. And then again, the pasuk comes back. It's the next pasuk which says, Kol nefesh asher teichal kol dam. If one eats any dam, there is kares, punishment applied. So we have b'chol dam, which is a klal, a generalization. Then we have specifics, la'oif la behema, bird, behema. Then we have another general reference, v'chol nefesh. Kol nefesh asher teichal kol dam. So it's a klal, a prat, concluded with another klal. What does that allow us to do? It allows us to bring in other items into the fold, provided it fits the bill, provided its characteristics will match the criteria found in these specifics, meaning the oif and the behema. And yesterday we found 3 distinguishing features unique to oif and behema. So if something fits that bill, he's on the list as well, and the blood of that type would also be covered under the Isra. Let's go back. We have klal, uprat, uklal. You could only apply, you could only include elokein prat, if in fact it matches, it's similar to the features of the prat. What's unique in the prat? We have 3 preconditions. Ma prat mefurish, just as you find specifically in the prat, a davar sheyesh bo tumah kala v'tumah chamura. Oif and behema both have the potential for 2 types of tumah. Tumah kala, a lighter, more basic tumah, v'tumah chamura, and a heavier tumah, a more severe tumah. Rashi explains, tumah kala means tumas oichlin. It has food properties to it. It's considered like food with respect to tumah. So a kibetza, an egg worth size piece of this material, can be considered food and become tummy accordingly, but that's a very basic tumah. That tumah does not make a person tummy, etc. Tumah chamura is a more heavier tumah. So after the bird or the animal die, it transmits a more heavier tumah. Person gets involved, his person becomes tummy, his begada become tummy, all types of severities that we find. And again, that's unique to oif and behema. Number 2, v'yesh ba'isr b'heter. They both have isr and heter stages. The Gemara later will explain for us that before shchita, it's forbidden, but then it transitions into heter after shchita. Number 3, v'yesh b'han min basar. It's considered the meat type of basar. Av kol, likewise, any other entity which falls under these categories, Av kol davar sheish by tumah kala v'tumah chamura, the chul that has all these 3 things will be covered as well, and its blood will be asur. Now, what are we including? Bird we have, behema we have. What about chaya? Rashi explains, well, chaya automatically is covered under the behema umbrella. Behema typically covers chaya as well. So what's missing? Av kol liktani. When you say also everything else that fits, that matches. Lasuyimai, what are you including? Amar of Adabar Avin, we have 1 option left out. Lasuye damishal kvi. So the kai, the kvi, the crossbreed, the mix between behema and chaya. So this crossbreed, whose status is a bit undetermined, is neither behema nor chaya. And that's why he has to be, he has to get a special honorable mention. So then we know that his blood is also asur to eat. Amar of Adabar Avin. So ask the Gemara, Maika Savar. What's our position on the koi? Ika Savar koi sveikahu. Is it an unknown? Maybe it's a behema, maybe it's a chaya, I'm not sure. Well, then automatically his blood is asur as well, because either way, whether you're behema or chaya, you're us. You don't need a special pasuk for that. Itzrich, krola mesa svek, you need a pasuk to forbid a suffix. Automatically it's us. El kasavar, rather he holds, kai bria b'fnei atzmehu. He's his own status. He's not a complete behema. He's his own entity. Hence, we need a special pasuk to forbid its blood. Ashkan domes, you've established the blood of the kai is asur because of a special drasha. Chelba minel. What about the fat of this kai? Is it asur like the fat of a behema, or is it mutar like the fat of a chaya? Mikol chelav. It says kol to cover the kai as well. What about nevlasim minel? What about the isra of eating its nevela if it dies? Mikol nevela. The word kol nevela tells us that it's asur as well. Giranashim. What about the giranash of this kai? Well, that's obvious. But kafa yarach tali rachmana. Torah forbidden the giranash relates it to the fact that it runs along the spoon-shaped, clump of meat around the thigh. So that's what it depends on. If you have it, you're in. Otherwise, you're out. Well, he has it. The kai also features this kafa yarach, so that's why his giranash is asur as well. And finally, what about tumasai? What if he dies? Is he metame? What about the shchita requirement for the kai? How do we know these are so? Minalan. Svara, well, it's lends the reason. Middle kol mila, Rabbi Rachmana, since we find that regarding other matters, the dam, the chelev, etc., Torah includes him, treats him kabehema. Likewise, regarding tumasai and shchitasai nami, there are two kabehema we treat like a behema, and those are active as well. Amar. So he set down three criteria, three preconditions for the isra of eating dam. Tumakal and chamur is the first one. So what are we excluding? What does not fit the bill? Amar. So we had yesterday. Oitzi dam. I'm going to exclude and permit the blood of a human. Malchishtain, the one who walks on two. Why? Because it doesn't have tumakal and tumachamura. Sheish ben tumachamura. Although an adam has tumachamura, if he dies, he's matame very severely. But there's no concept of tumas oichel. Person's not food. Vein bam tumakal. V'ramini bevakasha. From a brayso where it seems that he does have the potential to be considered like food as well. V'ramini. Hachoytech min adam. A person cuts away from a human, some flesh. Tzorach machshava v'hechsher. In order for that flesh to have tumah, he has to have machshava designated in his mind for consumption, and also step 2, hechsher, has to come into contact with liquid to open the door to tumah susceptibility. The question was asked, machshava lamli, why does he need special designation? The very fact that he cut it away presumably gives it food status. It was cut away to be fed, to be the cutting should give it chashivas, be considered like a machshava, to be used as food. His intent while cutting it was to feed it to a dog, which does not grant it food status. Giving it to a food to eat is not considered machshava for food. Why? Dog also has to eat. Really? No. We have a Mishnah where it seems like dog food also has the status of oichel. In fact, we have a rule regarding tumah. Something which is meant for human consumption, tummy. Let's say it becomes tummy, it retains its tummy, even though it's spoiling. It retains it until it becomes unfit for a dog. But as long as you can still feed it to the dog, it still has food status. Tumah until it becomes unfit, from dog consumption. Evidently, dog food has food status. Wow, it's a big difference. There, it's already tummy. The question is just whether it retains its tumah. Okay, it holds on to it until it's unfit for a dog as well. But as long as it's still fit for a dog, it has somewhat food status regarding retaining a tumah. La suke tumah minei. There, it's a question of vacating the tumah from the food. The kivan de mikara v'chaz la'adam. Since initially it was meant for a person, it was fit for an adam. La suke mituma. When does it lose its tumah? Well, it has to be really spoiled, achi posel, until it becomes unfit, mechilas kelev. Until then, it still retains some food element. But here we're talking about initiating, granting it food status. To give it to meichazi la'adam, if it's fit for a person, yep, then you're in. The gersa is in. Otherwise, it's not fit for a person. Even though it's fit for a dog, loy, it's not granted food status. Okay, in any case, bottom line, we speak about designating the human flesh for consumption and giving it food status of machshava. Whenever we speak about machshava requirement, it's only l'tumah kali, it's to give it a lighter, basic form of tumah, meaning tumah sa'ichlin. Because if it's, let's say, nevela, if it's a mace, you don't have to have machshava. He generates his own tumah. He doesn't need to be just designated and set aside and labeled. So clearly, even human flesh can have tumah sa'ichlin. True, that during the person's lifetime of alachamisa, tamit hu tumah chamura. But we're talking about after death. In that case, all he has is the most severe tumah's mace. Okay, fine. The kavasagav behema. So we're learning that the brisa refers to after death. So correspondingly, when the brisa crosses the adam off the list because it doesn't fit because we're talking about adam after misa, so likewise the behema which is on the list presumably speaks after misa. So behema is a carcass and available. Well, then we have a question as well. Basar, we're talking about the flesh of the carcass. Again, metama tumah chamura. That generates a severe tumah, it's an avela, which preempts tumah kal. There's no tumah kal anymore at that point. Vidam, we're talking about the blood of the avela. Again, same status. Metama tumah chamura is treated like an avela regarding tumah desnam. We have a mishnah that according to Beis Hillel, the dam and the basar have the same status. Tumah chamura. Dam and avela is what about the blood of an avela? We know the basar and avela is matame. What about the dominant avelas? B'shamay mitar, and they consider it to be Torah b'sil, however mitar. So how do we find behema material after misa which has tumah kala, which has tumas oichlin and not tumas nevela? It must be as the following Mishnah discusses. Nivlas behema tmei b'chamok. So anywhere you are, in a city, in a village, if it's a dead, non-kosher animal, like a dead horse, people, even goyim, keep away from it. So wherever it is, in town or in a city. Likewise, nivlas eif hator, a dead kosher type bird, which is eaten in the cities because of high demand, but b'kfarim, if you're in the villages, less demand, less interest even amongst the goyim. So in both cases, in order to give it food status, to make it open to tumah, tzorach machshava, you need to designate it for food, for eating. But vein tzorach hechsher, you don't have to do hechsher, because, as we explained before, something which has tumah chamura does not need hechsher. As more explain soon. So something which exudes severe tumah, nevela, mace, they're self-sources, self-generators of tumah chamura. They don't need hechsher. Hechsher is to prepare. It's already going. It's already prepared. He's going to be generating tumah. So hechsher is not needed, but machshava is. Otherwise, it's not classified as food. So let's skip the other brackets here. V'amalei Rav l'Rabbi. And the question was posed to Rabbi Chia, machshava lamli. But why even machshava? L'tumah kala. So presumably, the machshava is to give it a status of tumah kala, to give it a status of eichel, so that it has that tumas eichlin. Why bother? He gufa tumahi. We're talking about a nevela. A nevela is a source of tumah. It's a tumah generator. Tumahi. As tumas nevela, advanced tumah, you don't have to consider it food to become tummy. Tumahi. Normally, he says, I'll give you an example. I'll give you a case, a unique case, where nevela material will not be matami, tumah chamura. Only as oichel. Hence, the need for machshav. Amalei kigoyin, for instance, the ikapachas mekazayis nevela. You have nevela, but it's less than mekazayis. It's not yet going to generate tumah chamura. It's less than the required amount. Okay, so then why is it becoming tummy at all? Oh, with sirfa, he connected, he combined it with real food, with a piece of banana. Lepachas mekabetza oichlan. Piece of banana less than the kabetza, which again is less than the required amount. So for nevela to be tummy, you need a kazais. You have less than that. For food to become tummy, you need a kabetza. You have less than that. And you put them together, you pair them, you team them up. The high value, so when you connect both pieces, less than the kazayis and avela, less than the kibetza of the banana, the high value have a kibetza, a total of a kibetza. So now you have the required amount for tumas oichlin. Provided you granted the little piece of avela food status. Hence, the nitzim machshava, you gave it food status. So now you can team up with the piece of banana, at least to be considered food alongside the banana, and it can become tamei tumas oichlin. Says the Gemara, okay, well, so now he's been bumped down from nevela to food, doesn't have the shear of nevela, so then treat him as food, and not only do you need machshava, you need two conditions. Machshava and also hechsher. He doesn't have nevela status. If that's the case, if he's merely food, l'bayinami hechsher, let him require hechsher as well. Only something which generates tumah chamura is exempt from hechsher, but not this fellow. He's less than a kazais. In his current form, in his current volume, he's not going to have tumah chamura. Let him need hechsher. The Tana Devei Rabbi Shmuel, we learned alkol zera zerashi zera. This is the pasuk by hechsher. Plants, seeds, edibles need hechsher. Mazraim. What's unique about zraim? Yuchadim. What's unique about them? She'ein soifan l'tamit tumah chamura. They don't have the ability to tamit tumah chamura. They're just plain food, and that's why they need hechsher. It's arach hechsher. Of course, likewise, any other material. She'ein soifan l'tamit tumah chamura. It's arach hechsher. Well, this little bit of nevela is not tamit tumah chamura. Let him need hechsher. Amar Lisi says he's somewhere in between. Sure, in his current form, he can't be tamit tumah chamura because of his smallness and amount. But in terms of his material, it's an avela. It's tamit tumah chamura provided he gets a kazayis, and that's why he's exempt from hechsher. So on the one hand, he's nevela, but since he doesn't have the amount for tumah chamura, at most at this point he could become tummy as food. So he needs machshava to make him the food, but he doesn't need hechsher. Amar Lisi says to him, you're right. That certainly applies to regular foods. The less boy pachos mikazayis nevela that doesn't have alongside it some nevela less than a kazayis. So yeah, regular foods require the two-step process of machshava and hechsher. But here we have nevela material alongside the banana. The ikar b'gavei pachos mikazayis nevela, we have with it nevela. All the less than a kazayis, but nevela is nevela. Kiva dilu mitzaref le kazayis. Suppose he would have added a kazayis to the banana instead of less than a kazayis. Loi by hechsher, wouldn't need hechsher. That nevela, since it's tamit tumah chamura, is active without the hechsher. So bottom line, what we're saying is like this: in terms of the material per se, it is still nevela despite the smallness of amount. And that's why hechsher is not required. But machshava is. You want to give it food status. You want to pair it up with a banana. Tamit tumas oichlin has to be designated as food. So bottom line, we understand how behema fits the bill. It has tumah kala on the one hand and tumah chamura on the other hand. And we're talking after death. It has potential for tumah chamura, of course, but if it's less than a kazayas, it could still have tumah. If it's designated as food, and it will have tumas oichlin. So that's specific to the behema. Return to Talmud base. Lafuke, mace, as opposed to a person who's a mace, which does not have tumah kala whatsoever. Avagav de, even if you add to the amount, you get a full. Even if you add to the banana to fill up the kibetza by adding combining a bit of the mace, less than a kazayas, you won't have a total of a kibetza for tumas oichlin. You know why? Because human flesh cannot, after misa, cannot be regarded as food. It's asur bahana. Nobody designates it. Mishum de batla data. Even if he would designate it as food, his mindset becomes nullified, disregarded. It's asur bahana. You know, have an eitzel kol adam with respect to the common, practice amongst people, basically, there's no potential for basar of an adam mace to be considered eichel. And that's why he's off the list of Isser Dam. Okay, so according to Rabbi Chia, the reason why behema is considered something which has Tumah Kala and Tumah Chamura is specifically in this unique case where we're talking Achar Misa, because as we said, Mechai, even a person has Tumas Eichel, but we're talking Achar Misa. So an Avela, behema Achar Misa, if it's a full kazayis, Tumah Chamura. But if it's less than a kazayis and paired up with other food to give it a total of a kabetza, in that case it could be Tumah Kala, Tumah Kala only, as opposed to a person, a mace, which does not have that potential of Tumah Kala, only Tumah Chamura. Hence, he doesn't fit the bill. And that's why his dam is not also minator. Rav Chananya Amar, I'll give you another explanation. He doesn't see it this way because Taisus explains he had several difficulties with the previous pshat, because it turns out that it's not within the same piece that there's Tumah Kala and Tumah Chamura. Less than a kazayis only has Tumah Kala. Kazayis plus has Tumah Chamura. So it's not a perfect fit to the conditions in the Brisa, which speak about both, a potential for both. Sounds like coinciding at the same time. So he learns a bit differently. I'll give you a case where basar of nevela is metama Tumah Kala and Tumah Chamura. Rav Chananya Amar Filu Tema Davi Kazayis. Sure, we're talking about a full Kazayis of basar nevela. So you'll ask, in that case, is metama Tumah Chamura? My skin was speaking about a unique case. He encased it in dough. In which case, you can't really touch it. You can't access the nevela. So there's no tumas maga. On that basar nevela. Only thing you have is considered like food together with the dough around it. The sleeve, which is food. So it pairs up, it teams up with the sleeve, and it's considered food. Regarding tumas oichel. Says the Gemara. So again, we're speaking about a sleeve, which doesn't have a full kibetza, but by adding the nevela material enveloped within, it gets a total of kibetza, which passes the threshold of tumas oichel. Well, says the Gemara, Yachi, if the nevela inside is hidden from view, inaccessible, so it's not going to act like nevela. So back to the question: if it's not nevela, then it's food. If it's food, it needs hechsher. That certainly applies to regular foods, which don't generate tumah, like masa, not by touching or by carrying. A regular piece of food, needs machshava, needs hechsher. But here, this hiding nevela inside is still somewhat active, is still somewhat expressive as a nevela as well. True, granted, it doesn't transmit by way of touching, it's inaccessible. So that element of the tumas nevela had been deactivated. And the only way you can have maga on that nevela is by pairing him up with a sleeve, surrounding him, treating him like food alongside the food that's enveloping him, which will allow it to become tamei through tumas maga. Metame maga can't directly become metame through maga because he's covered with the sleeve, with the dough. So the tumas maga of that nevela has been deactivated temporarily. But nevertheless, it still transmits through masa, indirect association, carrying. Also is a form of transmitting tumah. For that you don't have to direct access and direct touch. Dot only. After all, he's lifting him even though he's hiding inside the sleeve, it still qualifies for tumas masa. So we found both elements of tumah within the same piece of nevela. It's a kazayas nevela. On the one hand, he's food. On the other hand, he's nevela. Regarding tumas maga, he can't serve as nevela, but you can't touch the nevela. He's inaccessible. So that part of the nevela tumah was deactivated. The only way you can have tumas maga is by treating him as food alongside the sleeve, alongside the dough, pairing them together for a kibetza. Now, they're susceptible to tumas maga as any food is. But at the same time, the tumas masa aspect of that nevela is still alive and ablaze. For tumah chamura. So that's why behema has both. In the same circumstance, in the same setting. And that's why he qualifies for Isser Dam as opposed to a mace, a person. Lafuge mace, even if you'll craft this type of situation with a mace, it's not going to work. Imagine you have a kazayas of a mace enclosed in a sleeve of dough. That's not going to deactivate the tumas mace in any way. The avagav the chipo, but even if we covered it with batzak mitami tumah chamura, he's fully active regarding all aspects of tumah chamura. You know why? The tumah boikas v'oila, mace doesn't hide behind the sleeves of dough. The tumah shoots forth. The tumah, because the tumah of the mace boikas v'oila, it breaks through the enclosure and rises up. Because we read this, rises down, it breaks through downward as well. So if you touch that sleeve on any side, even the surface of the sleeve, you'll get tamei tumas mace. So since the boss of the mace, metame tumas mace, the most severe tumah, he's just metame tumah chamur. There is no tumah kala there at all. There's no situation where the boss of the mace, in terms of his tumah chamur, it's been dormant and he's only active as tumas oichlan, because wherever he is, in every situation, he's tumah chamur, and that's why he scratched off the list. His dam is not tummy. Okay, according to Rashi, we delete the next three lines. Amamar. What else was excluded from the Isser Dam? Amamar Yatzod Dam Dogim, Dam Chagavim, the blood of fish, of grasshoppers, the Shukul and Heter. So now we shift over to the second requirement. It needs to have Isser and Heter in order for the Dam to be Isser, as opposed to Dogim, Chagavim, Kul and Heter. What does that mean, Shukul and Heter? My Kuli Heter. Ilay Medachel B'Mutar. Is it because the fat of these entities are not forbidden? So within the same, we don't have Isser and Heter within this fish as we have by Behema, which has permissible parts and forbidden parts, the fat. Hari Chaya, but look at a Chaya, the Chalba Mutter, its fat's a Mutter, and still V'dam Asr, and the Dam is Asr. So it can't be referring to fat. V'ela Mishum the Lesbu Isser Gedanasha is because the Dagam Chagam don't have the Isser Gedanasha, Vari Oif, what a bird doesn't either have it, the Lesbu Isser Gedanasha. And still Badami is Asr. Elamai Kul Heter. So what then does the Brisa mean? These are Kuli Heter. The Libai Shchita. There's no transition point between Isra and Heter. It doesn't need Shchita, it's always Mutter. As opposed to Behema Ba'oif and Chaya, which are Asr pre-Shchita and post-Shchita Mutter. So that's the second precondition for Isra Dam. Omar, the Brisa continued. But why does the Pasuk have to specify Oif and Behema? Could have just said one or the other. And we'll learn. Just like the oif has these three features, etc., etc. Or the behema, which has three features. Why both? Why mention both? Amar, ma'oif, because if it only says oif, I would say, well, it has to be like the oif. Shema kilayim doesn't have kilayim. Behema likewise, only behema which fits that description, which doesn't have kilayim, would fall under the Isra of Dam. Ask Talmud behema, that's why the Pasuk has to specify behema to cover all types of behema. Now, what kind of kalayim are we talking about? There are three types, right? Crossbreeding, working with two animals together, and then we have the mix of materials, right? The wool and linen. Kalayim, what type of kalayim are we referring to? The kalayim harba, We're talking about the crossbreeding type. We climb the charisha, the working, the plowing with the two types of animals. What do you mean to say that a bird is not covered under that? We have a Mishnah. Chaya v'eif ke'itza behen. A chaya, fowl, they're just like the behema regarding all these halachas, including kalayim. You can't crossbreed, you can't work with two types. Elam Abaye says Abaye should simra. We're talking about the shatnez type of kalayim, which does not apply to birds. Should simra because it's tzemer, it's feathers. Ein chayav alav mishum kalayim. There's no kalayim on it. So there's room to think that just like the oif is kalayim free, likewise only a behemo, which is also kalayim free. Rashi before explained, it means like a cow or like a goat whose hair is not subject to kalayim, to shatnez. So maybe only that covers falls under the isra of dam. That's why the Torah had to mention behema specifically, all types of behema, including your woolly lamb. Amar b'dam harav, dam shrotzim, the dam of a creature. Lo ykanol b'kazayis. If one eats a kazayis of that dam, he gets malchus. Meisvei comes a kasha. What do you mean? We just exempted shrotzim from isra of dam. Meisvei dam atchoil. Right, only blood, primary life force blood of an animal is subject to isra dam. Isra dam, which has kares, but you have, let's say, secondary bloods embedded inside, the limbs of the animal. Meisvei dam atchoil, in the spleen, dam alev, in the heart, dam aklois, in the kidneys, dam ivarim, all other types of limbs. Harei b'leisaseh. They're not as severe as the primary life force blood which has kares. It's just a leisaseh. That's the second level. Then we have a third level, human blood, or dam of shrotzim. Dam malcheshtayim, dam shrotzim ramasim osur. Although you keep away, but vein chayav no, there's no liability for it. And you're telling me dam of shrotzim has malchus? My ein chayav alav. What the Brisa meant, that you're not liable, it means kares. Doesn't have the highest level of liability. But alav machayiv, yechayiv alav, you get malchus. Ask the Gemara, so then why does the Brisa split it up into two levels? It should have included in the first list of the dam varim, which has alav, if in fact that applies to dam shrotzim as well, as you're saying. The first question is dainu reisha. Then it fits into the first list. Why does the Brisa give it its own class? Void. Furthermore, Tana milav namikum emaytle. The Tana of the Brisa that we're actually in the middle of learning now. The Brisa began on Chafaf and Beis after the Mishnah. Exempts it even from Allah, meaning it's fully permissible. The dam shrotzim. Void Tana milav namikum emaytle. The Tani, the Brisa says, right, we have those three conditions, to makala, to machamura. Shrotzim doesn't fit that bill, doesn't have to machamura, so it's out. It's off the list. It's mutter completely. And you're telling me if a person eats dam sheretz to get malchus? Why? Amar b'zeira. You're right. There's no isra of dam per se by dam shrotzim. But if a person eats a sheretz, he gets malchus. The blood of a sheretz is not considered a separate entity. It's one big mish with the flesh of the sheretz. In which case, if a person eats a certain amount of dam sheretz, it's as though he ate the flesh of a sheretz and gets malchus on account of eating a sheretz, not because of dam. You're right. Amar Abzeru Hisru Mishum sheretz. If he was warned, don't eat this blood because it's sheretz, like he gets malchus on account of eating the sheretz, the dam element of the sheretz. But if he was warned, Mishum Dam, don't eat it because it's Isra of Dam, they're wrong. Ain't it like he doesn't get Malchus? Because they did not warn him appropriately. There's no Isra Dam on Sheretz, you're right. What else is not included in the Isra Dam? We have the dam of the Dagim, of the Chagavim, dam of an Adam, which when Torah are completely mutter. So at this point we have three categories. We have Isser Kares, applying to dam of Behema, dam of Oif, dam of Chaya, whether they're Tummy, whether they're Tur, because it's dam hanefesh, which comes from something which has tumah kala, tumah chamura, iser v'heter, min basar. Then we have the next level, the dam of the ivarim, which is a lav, asur min haTorah, just a lav, no kares. Then we have the third level, which is totally mutter, dam dagim, dam chagav, and dam of adam. You're meant to know that even blood which is fully permissible, min haTorah, for example, the dam of dagim. However, midrabanan, at times, you are meant to keep away. Because of optics, because of maris ha'ayin, the observer might mistakenly confuse it with regular. He might think it's regular blood of a behemoth. So unless it's easily identified with its source, it would be asr. Amar Rav, dam dagim shekinsai, fish blood which was contained in a container, asr. You have to keep away. Maybe here comes a kasha from the brayso that we just learned, which has 3 parts. Part 1 discussed dam of tchil, dam of leiv, blood embedded in all kinds of parts of the animals. Those aren't, primary bloods. That's not dam hanefesh, which has kares. It's only a lav. Part 2 of the brayso was dam malchishtaim, human blood, dam shratzim, are only are asr. Ve'ein chayav and olav. Then comes part 3, which is what we're up to right now. Meisvei dam dogim, dam chagavim. Blood of fish, of grasshoppers, is mutar. Afil chatchila. So the brayso clearly allows it, gives a green light. Fully mutar. And Rav tells us, dam dagim is also midrabanan. Well, that's talking that it's not in a kli. Ahi b'shaloi kinsai. That's speaking that it wasn't contained in a kli. So the blood is still sitting on the fish. It's clearly, visibly identified with its source. There's no concern of optics. There's no concern of perceiving it as dam behema. Kika amar Rav b'shakinsa. Rav talking that it was put in a container, separate from the source. That's why it's asr midrabanan. Okay, so that addressed the fish element. What about the other dam mahalchishtaim, human blood, the kavasa? We assume likewise, correspondingly. Gabe mahalchishtaim, when the brayso refers to the human blood, and it says that it's asr b'shaloi kinsai, we assume that the brayso all along is talking about the same type of scenario. Just like by the dam dagim, you said it was mutter because loy kinsei, it was not in a container. So in the previous case, part 2 of the brayso, dam halchishtayim, we assume is talking about a similar circumstance, that it was not contained in a container. So it's still, on the person, visibly identifying with his source, with the blood's, source. So why is the brayso saying it's asr? Why is it asr? When haTorah it's not asr, and even the rabbanon you're telling me, unless it's contained and it's separate, here it's not. If it wasn't contained, me asr. Why is it asr? Vatani, you have a brayso, that's fully okay. If it's in a container, or if it's sitting on a loaf of, then yeah, it's separate from its source and it's asr midrabanan. But if it's still connected with a person, it's mutar. Vatani, dam shal gabi kikar, he bit into a loaf of bread and there's blood coming out of his teeth, and there's blood marks on the bread. That would be a problem. Goyre reis, scrape it off. Vayichlin eat the rest. Shalbein hashenai, but it's still within his teeth, in his mouth. Might to say bailo, just suck it and swallow it. No problem. There's no concern. He need not be concerned in any way. You're right, says the Gemara. Apparently, the brayso, which considers dam of an adam to be somewhat asr midrabanan, is speaking that in fact it was contained, was gathered in a container. So it's asr because of maris ha'ayin. Oh, so then why does the brayso continue and allow it by the fish? Fish blood in container should be asr according to Rav. Elo kitanya hi masnisa. Rather, that brayso is speaking that there are identifying marks. There are indicators that it's fish blood. which preempts any confusion. This because Kasam has the scales of the fish, so you see where it came from. That, of course, wouldn't apply by human blood. He has no scale, right? So there it's not applicable. It's always going to be asur if it's separate from the person. Kikam Rav asur, when Rav said it's forbidden, less because Kasam doesn't have identifying indicators. Okay, so in conclusion, whether it's dam dagim, dam chagavim, dam of a person, is fully mutter min haTorah, even the Rabbanah, unless there's a maris ayin concerns. Amar of Sheshes, once again, dam al-chishtayim, the dam of two-legged individuals, meaning people. Afilu mitzvahs proish ein boy. Not only is it permissible min haTorah, there isn't even a mitzvah of proish. There's no mitzvah of the Rabbanah, keep away. It's fully okay. And as we're going to explain, we're speaking that it's still connected to the source. There's no concern of mistaken identity. Meisvei comes a kasha from that brisa, which discussed various categories of dam, dam atcho, dam alev, dam akoyz, dam ivarim. These are considered somewhat blood, somewhat asur, or elu sase. There's a special love not to go with that. But dam al chishtayim, human blood, dam shratzim, rumasam asur, vein chayav alav. There's no lav of dam, but it's still asur. Hold it, according to Rav Sheshes, it's fully okay. Says the Gemara, it depends what it looks like. Depends where it is. Kitanya asur, when the Brisa says it's not okay, the pirish, we turn to the next time, the pirish. It's detached from the source, detached from the person. It's in a kli, it's on the kikar. That's also because of marasa ayin. You might mistakenly identify it as the real thing. Kikama Rav Sheshes. Rav Sheshes, when he allows it, but pirish, when it hadn't detached from the source. Because it's sunny, you had the brisa. Dam shall be kikar, if it's already on the loaf, you got to scrape it off and eat the rest. Ben Hashem, it's still in his teeth. Might say, just swallowed without an issue. Some apply to Rav Sheshes' statement on the following brisa: the Sani Yochel Cholav. What's the status of human milk? Milk of a woman. Perhaps the cholav of a person is off limits, is a lav. Why would I even consider that? V'dinu, based on logic. Ma behema tmeya. Look at a behema tmeya, unkosher animal. Shekalta mago, where the tumah is limited in a way because there's no issue touching a behema. There's no concept of tumah on a behema during its lifetime. Rashi says there's no ziva, there's no nida on a behema. So its tumah in a way is a limited scope. Still, echmarta bechelva, but the milk of a non-kosher animal is also, despite its limited scope. Echmarta bechelva, certainly by a person who expresses all kinds of tumahs. He could become a nida, a zava, malchesh time. The milk of a person, shechmarta magon, we are strict regarding maga. So his tumah covers a greater scope. And perhaps it makes sense that the chalav should be asur as well. We have a special pasuk by the Shruats. Only these creatures are off limits. Zeh tamei, but not milk of a person. Vein chalav malchesh time tamei. Elator, milk of a person is fully okay. Perhaps, okay, I'll leave out the milk because milk doesn't apply to all equally. Rashi explains what this means is that not in all cases is milk a problem. Milk of a non-kosher animal, yeah, but of a kosher animal is okay. So again, it's a limited scope type of issue. Okay, so I could allow, to permit the chalav of an isha. But what about blood of a person? Perhaps that's in. Perhaps I can't leave out blood. Because blood is an issue all around. Blood of a behema, tameya, behema, Torah, right? So since it has a broader scope, perhaps the blood of a person should be asur as well. And Mepharshim endeavor to explain why was the Gemara considering it to be asur? Already excluded it, already allowed it in the previous sugya. So some explain because it's yaitse. It's something produced by something which is asur. Yotzim and atame is tame, so a person who's asur, but his basar is asur, so perhaps the dam, which is a byproduct of his basar, would be asur as well. That would be the hava amina. Okay, so the hava amina is perhaps I can't leave out dam. I have to prohibit dam, even dam of a person. Tamalayma. Once again, that pasuk zelachem atami. Only these zeh tame, but not blood of a person. Zeh ve'ein dam. Zeh tame ve'ein dam malchesh time tame lator. On this we have Sheshes. To wrap it up, you should know not only is a mutter min Torah. Amar lo. Rav Sheshes, afilu mitzvahs proish. Even Isur Rabbanon, keep away, Aimboy does not apply to human blood, it's fully mutter. Again, provided there's no maras ayin concern. So, in conclusion, we discuss the sugya of the Isur of eating dam. We have several tiers, several levels, several categories of dam with their respective statuses. We have Isur Kares, which only applies to something which qualifies as dam ha-nefesh, containing the life force of the animal. Something coming from a being, an animal, which has potential for two levels of tumah kala and tumah chamura. Something which has isur v'heter, and it's a min basar. And that covers behemois, chayos, oifos, whether they're atami or they're tar. It does not cover a person, because a person after misa only has tumah chamura, as opposed to a behemoth, for instance. Even after misa, has a potential for tumah kala. We explained two scenarios. Either it's less than a kazayas, which case it can only be tami as food and not more, or if it's covered, encased, so there's no accessibility, there's no option of tumas maga nevela, and the only way you can have tumas maga is if you consider it, if you classify it as food. Okay, so these fit the bill. They have all the features, all these elements. Dam ha-nefesh, tumah kal v'chamur, isur v'heter, yeah, because it's asr until you shecht these things, and they're min basar. As opposed to dam ha-ivarim, residual blood stuck inside the animal. There's no kares on that, but a special lav for that. Now, which are totally mutter? Min ha-Torah, dam dagim, dam chagavim, dam of an adam, dam of beitzim. There's no discussion about beitzim. Taisus explains elsewhere that really dam beitzim should be mutter. It's not dam ha-nefesh. It doesn't have all those qualifiers. He says because there's a chashash that you might confuse it with the actual dam of the egg. It's coming. Look, the egg is coming out of it's produced from a fowl, from a chicken, and if the blood that you find inside that egg would be okay, so then you would just mistakenly also eat the blood coming out of the chicken. So that would be one reason why a blood spot in an egg is asur midrabanan. So in Torah these are okay, but at times there's an isur drabanan. For instance, by dagim and chagavim and adam, we explained that if there's room for confusion, let's say it was contained in a container separate from the source without any identifying indicators, then it would be asur midrabanan on account of maras ayin. Now, dam shratzim as well, technically is not asur on account of dam, but ultimately it is asur. Maybe not on account of dam, but on account of the fact that it's part of a sheret. So that would be asur min ha-Torah because of the sheretz aspect, but not because of the dam. And concluded, Rav Sheshes teaches us that regarding dam adam, don't think there's any isur drabanan. If there's no concern of maras ayin, then it's a-okay. All the best to you, and hatzlacha rabbah.